Hello there, my dear students. Welcome to Science Made Simple by Miss Flums. Our standard for today, 6E28.3, I can construct explanations of the processes involved in the cycling of water through Earth's system, including transpiration, evaporation, condensation, and crystallization, precipitation, and downhill flow of water on land. For this standard, I'll be dividing this into two. The first part will be learning about the phases of matter, which is an important prerequisite for you to be able to understand the different processes involved in water cycle. And the second one will be learning the water cycle itself. For a cross-cutting concept, we have patterns, structures, and function. Patterns will look at similarities and differences, as well as what we need to understand and take note so we'll be able to understand the different processes in water cycle. And we'll look at each of the processes and look at its function. I am suggesting here a YouTube video link that you can watch to help you better understand this lesson. But before anything else, the YouTube video link that I'm sharing as well as the pictures and images are not mine. So credit to the owners and authors of this video, pictures, and images I'm using just to support my Science 6 students. To start with, we have here now the three states of matter. So we'll take closely at water itself. When water is in solid form, then that is our simple ice. When water is in liquid form, the one that we're drinking, that is water in liquid form. And we have water vapor, that is water in gas form. So let's look at solid first. When you see solid in here, this illustration, the molecules are packed together and vibrating very slowly. An example are these pencils. We have the ice itself and your notebook. So they have a definite shape and definite volume. When we have liquid in here, molecules are loosely packed and sliding past each other. They have a definite volume, but they don't have a definite shape. They take the shape of the container. Example is the rain here, and we have here our lake. Vapor or gas. Molecules are spread apart and moving fast. So notice gas state in here. So look at the molecules. They are far apart from each other and thereby they can move freely. Compare that to the liquid state and compare that to the solid state. So look at the pattern. Solid state, they are closely packed together. Liquid state, there are spaces in between the molecules, and in a gas state, there are spread far apart from each other and thereby they can freely move. So how does water change state? So water changes state depending on the heat energy. When heat is added or when heat energy is removed, then this water now will change from one state to another. So look at this illustration. Example, we have a solid matter in here. When heat is added to that solid, this solid will melt. That's melting. That's a process of melting. Solid changing to liquid, whereas liquid changing to gas, and that's boiling. The opposite, when gas changes to liquid, the process is known as condensation. When liquid changes to solid, then the process is known as freezing. And that is when heat is removed in the process. So where does this energy come from to change the state the water is in? The main source of energy is the sun. The process is driven by the sun and its energy. So now let's look at how this water changes in nature. First is evaporation. I want you to remember this. Evaporation is when liquid changes to gas. Evaporation is when liquid changes to gas. And this is an example. Transpiration is the process wherein plants lose water out of their leaves. So we know very well that the roots of the plants or this plant absorb water from the soil using their roots. And this water will travel up through the plant, and when these leaves are exposed to the heat of the sun, water is lost in the process of transpiration. Condensation is another state where water vapor in the air gets cold and changes back into liquid, forming clouds. Again, condensation is when gas now changes to liquid. So remember, when we study about temperature and altitude in the troposphere, as the altitude increases, temperature decreases. So in this case, when liquid from the surface evaporates, liquid changes to gas. Once it reaches a higher altitude, temperature becomes less or decreases, so thereby now heat is removed, so water vapor in the air now changes back to liquid, forming clouds. Next is precipitation. Precipitation is when liquid now will fall from the air to the surface. Examples are rain, snow, sleet, and hail. So these are types of precipitation. Runoff. So during precipitation, now water is falling down to the surface of the earth. So once this water reaches the ground, it flows across land, and they are collected in rivers, streams, and eventually to the ocean. So when this water now moving downhill, they usually move downhill, okay? So from precipitation now, it reaches the surface of the earth, and this water will always find its way to a body of water. So it will be part of the rivers, the streams, and the end of which is in the ocean. So when this water also will be on the surface of the earth, they will find its way to go down. They will find its way to go down below the earth. So once that happened now, we called it groundwater, below the earth. So we call it now groundwater. When this water seeped through the soil and find its way down underneath the soil, then that is what you mean by groundwater. So I want you to remember all these terms so that you will find it easier now to understand as we discuss the water cycle. So that will be all for today. Video to watch next will be our water cycle. Thank you and have a great day.